All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carmelino Castillo. I'm the Director of Student Life here at Laredo College, but I'll also be your moderator for this evening's Associated Student Organizational Presidential Debate. With me, I have Ms. Alice Lara, who's the Elections Commissioner that will be serving as the timekeeper. This evening, I have two candidates that are running for the president for the Associated Student Organization. I have Mr. Jack Vela, that's running for president. And then I also have Mr. Alan A. Cantu, who's also running for president for the Associated Student Organization. Now, for this particular debate, each candidate did receive a copy of the questions in which they will be given time to provide responses. During this debate, candidates will be given a 5-minute time limit to provide opening remarks, followed by a 2-minute time limit when providing for responses to the questions, along with a 5-minute closing remarks. I ask that all the audience that is attending this evening, please turn off your microphones and turn off your video cams, so that way our candidates can provide you with the information. In addition to that, I would like to inform you that this is being streamed live through the Student Life YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, candidates, and if you do not have any questions, let us go ahead and begin with, I'd ask Mr. Alan Cantu to provide his opening remarks. Mr. Cantu, want to remind you, you have 5 minutes starting now.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would like to thank everyone that decided to join us. My name is Alan Cantu, and it is an honor and a privilege to be able to be in this position. I am determined to make this year count, and more than anything, I have a genuine interest and a real desire in the betterment of the student body and this institution. And I strongly believe that with the right people, we will achieve our goals and effectively work towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, you have 5 minutes to provide your opening remarks.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you for coming in today. And I just want to say it's really good to be able to have this opportunity to introduce myself and, represent the student body also, and basically do what's best to help the college and help the people and as much as I can to better the education as a whole.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. So now we continue our debate with the debate questions. I just want to remind both candidates that each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide a response to these questions. So we'll go ahead and begin with Mr. Vela on the first debate question. And the question reads as follows. If elected, what are some of the changes you plan to implement during your term?
I think the major changes I'd like to do is have more opportunities for students who come from more impoverished, lower class backgrounds to have more opportunities to come into LCs, like to Laredo College, and maybe pursue higher education, maybe have more chances to essentially pursue a better future for themselves, because they already come from a very bad background as they are. And I think that what college can do is give more create programs, or maybe even create better chances to admit them, because they already don't have many opening chances in other places. So I think that would be a great start to have more people for the college, and also better Laredo as a whole, and pursuing higher education. I think that would be a great change for Laredo, especially considering how we look at the poverty rate in Laredo. It's not that good, and it's very divided among the North and the South, and Laredo as a whole. I think that would be a great way to help our school, and also help where we live, that being Laredo.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, first question as well. If elected, what are some of the changes you plan to implement during your term?
Okay, so again, I'd like to thank everyone who stood by my side and endorsed me. To answer the question, If elected, one of the several things I plan on changing is having the voice of the students be heard. And I don't say that lightly, since as an institution, we are here for and because of the students. Now, one way I plan to accomplish this is by being the mediator of the student body. I also plan on facilitating the method of obtaining certain resources, such as working towards the trading center, which let me give you a little explanation as to what that is, which is it's a free service offered to all students from fruit products all the way to hygiene products. I also plan on implementing an easy guide that answers the most commonly asked questions, such as who do I talk to if financial aid, if I need this, if I need that, very common questions for both seasoned students and incoming students. And if possible, and if asked for, I will work towards getting a wider food variety on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. We'll continue with question number 2, and this question goes to Mr. Cantu. If financial circumstances require budget cuts, what would you first eliminate from ASO's budget?
Okay, so the obvious answer would be eliminating the things that are not essential, such as expenses that are unnecessary, those that do not work towards helping the growth of the student's education. Whatever hinders that or creates a barrier from the student's education will be eliminated. If needed, we will have to cut out certain luxuries out of the budget. Again, only if it does not interfere with the student's education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, same question. If financial circumstances require budget cuts, what would you first eliminate from ASO's budget?
I would probably have to remove or eliminate anything that's not related to pursuing a higher education, really, or anything that really helps or benefits the students in that regard. Probably something to do with like more extracurricular, or maybe even like other things that like aren't really effective to like bettering the campus as a whole. It really just depends on the circumstance, and it really depends on like the it depends on like what the budget is going to, but like essentially anything that can help grow the college, what I think is would be great to keep. And that's what I believe in.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vela. Third question goes out to Mr. Vela. With having minimal knowledge of LC, how are you going to effectively represent the student body?
I think I can represent the student body by essentially saying that I am someone who didn't start off that big, actually start off really small, and that I want to say that I am the best to represent the student body in terms of like how everyone who comes to college doesn't know what they're going for. They're lost. They are still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to find an opportunity to see what like career or path they can go to, and see like if they can find hope, and see if they can basically find a better future for themselves and find acceptance maybe in society as well. Maybe even have their voices heard as well. That would be something that I think a lot of people would want, especially when they are young and still trying to discover what is best suited for them. I think I can do that because I am one that also had these issues when I first attended Laredo College.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, same question. With having minimal knowledge of LC, how are you going to effectively represent the student body?
Okay, so as previously mentioned, I plan on to be the middleman of the students. I will reach out to the student body and be near to them. I will not only listen to them, but I will take into account what is being said and do something about it. I will represent the student body with my actions by being involved, especially by donating my time, effort, and energy, if possible, any resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Cantu, fourth question. What experiences have prepared you for the role of president?
Okay, I've asked myself this question several times, and I can confidently say that I'm prepared. I have the right people behind me, people that have been supportive from the start. Not only that, but I have been here a student at Laredo College for 2 years. In addition to having been the media marketing and president of the Trio Club, I was also a master of ceremony at some point. I'd also like to mention I'm familiar with how certain departments operate because I've worked here on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, same question. What experiences have prepared you for the role of president?
I would say that just my general intuition, and also by going what people have told me, that these are positions that I could go because I have the best ideas in mind and I have a voice that is yet to be heard. And I go for things that I think best suited for the general populace. So I think that trying this out and see what I can do with it, well, it might not be wise, it might be risky, but at the same time, it's about time I actually did something that's better for someone and better for myself also. I would also like to say that given previous experience that I've been told multiple times that these are just positions that are suitable for a person like me.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Vela, question number 5. How would those experiences impact your leadership?
I would say that I would have to be very observant, and I would have to rely on what people say to make sure I don't mess up or I do what's right for the people themselves, the student body. And I think that these experiences, they would have to make me be very critical of myself and also want to like self-improve as well and want to do what's right and what's better for everyone and me.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, same question. How would those experiences impact your leadership?
Now, I strongly believe that great leaders are shaped by their experiences. My past experiences have helped me become an outspoken person. They have shaped and prepared me to work under pressure and work better with others. These experiences have also taught me how to manage my time. These experiences have also taught me that everyone has potential to become a leader. In short, these experiences have helped me grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Cantu, question number 6. Where do you see LC in 2 years?
I love that question. I see that LC has a bright future. I see more students attending LC along with hybrid classes becoming more popular. I also see LC more in touch with our community. That's something I'd also really love to see. I would also like to think we would have begun constructing a new building for student activities. But I do see a larger variety of programs and resources for students being applied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, same question. Where do you see LC in 2 years?
I would like to see LC in 2 years to be more, I would like to see it, as well as most of Laredo, really, to be more, say, progressive and accepting of people of different races and creeds, people from out of town, people of different countries coming together for the same goal, that pursuing a higher education. And I would like to see ways that the college itself can improve and build more accommodations for these people as well. I think that would be what I predict LC will become. And it's already done a great job at doing these methods. I think that LC is going to have a really positive future, and it was going to be very diverse with a group of student body of different backgrounds. I think that's very special. And it also goes to show that even if people are, whether they're impoverished or they come from a higher class, it doesn't matter. You can still have that dream or goal to want to pursue that higher education itself. Because as we know, that's what the only way we can do it in these times.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Vela, question number 7. How do you see the role of ASO growing and developing?
I see it growing in a way that can possibly, I could see in a way that's essentially helping the student body in ways that possibly have never been done before. And I think it's a very personal, maybe even more closer relationship to the student body that is yet to be seen or represented. And I think that's what I see ASO with.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, same question. How do you see the role of ASO growing and developing?
In all honesty, I have high hopes for ASO. With the right people, ASO will be fruitful and will be better known throughout the Laredo College as a whole. Well, Laredo College and Laredo. I see that our effectiveness will cause larger interest in students opening up more officer positions, more club positions, just more positions being more involved in the college itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Cantu, question number 8. One of the most important parts of this job is being connected and approachable to students in order to be a more accurate voice of their opinion. On top of this, there is the challenge that your peers less often see you as a fellow student and rather a part of a structural power. As president, how would you act and what sort of things would you do to remain connected?
Okay, so as president, I would like to make myself approachable by being open. Obviously, everybody loves an honest person, sincere, transparent, kind, and lighthearted. You know, the last thing you want is someone that approaches you and you think of them as an officer, as someone higher than you. So I want to be on the same level. I will really make the effort to get to know the people I meet. I will also keep the best interest of the students at heart, not only by being a peer, but by being a friend. If anyone approaches me, I promise I will take the time to listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, same question. One of the most important parts of this job is being connected and approachable to students in order to be a more accurate voice of their opinion. On top of this, there is the challenge that your peers less often see you as a fellow student and rather a part of a structural power. As president, how would you act and what sort of things would you do to remain connected?
I would like to tell and remind my student body that I am not someone who wants to abuse their power and use power to intimidate. I want to say that I am on the same level and playing field as them, and I would do whatever I can to listen to their voice and to accommodate them. I also want to show that, excuse me, what was the second, you're muted.
As president, how would you act and what sort of things would you do to remain connected?
What would I do to remain connected would be to essentially communicate with them and explain myself to them and essentially say that what we're doing is going to be helpful for you and there is no issue and everything's going to be all right. There's no like abuse of power. There's no intimidation and there's no way that we'll never let your voice not be heard. We're always going to be here listening for you, accommodating you and improving your experience here in LC. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Vela, question number 9. What is one area that needs to most improvement at LC and how would you go about implementing it?
I would say that in terms of areas in LC that would need improvement, it would most likely just be direction, because I'm sure a lot of people who are newcomers, people are new to LC, they would feel lost and overwhelmed by going in and having a lack of direction, not knowing where to go. So I think that like more help in these areas, or maybe like methods to explain like the college itself and the locations and explain what it offers. I think that would be helpful for people who are new to LC. And I think that to expand on this area would be to have more people volunteer and have more people accommodate these students who are new. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, same question. What is one area that needs the most improvement at LC? How would you go about implementing it?
Okay, I believe I speak for everyone when I say COVID hit us hard. especially since quarantine isolated so many of us. And I say that to say this, the one area that needs most improvement is communication within the student body. One solution to this is creating more opportunities for students to engage in, obviously activities that will appeal for students such as art or game sessions, or even a podcast discussion of some sort. Since many times we are either the listeners or the ones talking, especially our introverted folks, they're not so open to talking at first. So that's why the podcast, I think, is a great idea. Like I said, at art and game sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Cantu, last question. What is the best and most feasible improvement you would want to implement to LC over the next year?
In all sincerity, I already had this in mind. I already had in mind what I wanted to improve before even considering running for president. I was determined to improve and expand the services offered by the trading station, since its services have been needed in the past and will continue to be needed. Like I said, right now, I believe, if I'm not wrong, we only have food and certain hygiene products. We can expand on this. Again, I plan on facilitating the college experience for all students at Laredo College, new and old, or seasoned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu. Mr. Vela, same question. What is the best and most feasible improvement you would want to implement to LC over the next year?
The best and most feasible improvement for me would essentially have more volunteers or possibly more people assisting or helping students who are new, people who are not from here, people who just came out of high school, to essentially assist them in their questions and answering them, and also essentially giving them a sense of a community or belonging when there wasn't one that they didn't previously had, and also essentially listening to their concerns. I think that would be something as a good start to help students and represent the student body as well. Just having more people helping them or assisting them is what I would consider. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vela. I would like to now state that this is the last portion of the debate questions. Now I would like to give our candidates an opportunity to provide closing remarks. They have 5 minutes to provide their closing remarks. We'll go ahead and begin with Mr. Vela.
So for my closing remark would be that I would want to do what's best for the student body, do what's best to help those who are not heard, to help those who essentially feel like they don't have a belonging or a community. I want to make sure we have a very helpful, opening community that could help or assist anybody, whether like you're of low class, high class, it doesn't matter whether you're from here or not from here. I would want to do anything to create like open arms and create like a very helpful environment for anybody. And I think that we could do this very easily and it's achievable. And it's a good start to essentially give a good name for not just Laredo College, but Laredo as a whole, because Laredo, as we know, doesn't get a really good rep. But we can change that and also change the future generations, and also in changing the education here as well. I think that would be a great way for Laredo College to start. And I think that would be something we can do and achieve. Thank you. That's my closing remark.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Cantu, your closing remarks. You have 5 minutes.
So I wasn't planning on saying this, but I'll say it either way. I heard something being said this week and it shook me to my core, and I feel like I should say it. Those who fail to plan to fail. And I say this because I would like, and I will be the voice of the students if you allow me. So with that said, thank you all very much for tuning in. I would like to encourage you to analyze the words that were spoken today. I trust that you are very intelligent people and will make the best choice out of this election. I hope to see you around, and feel free to approach me. And don't forget to vote. Thank you. Have a great day.
I want to thank our candidates this evening for taking time out of their campaign to sit down and join us for the presidential debate. For all our audience members that joined us this evening, thank you very much for attending our the Associated Student Organizational presidential debate. I just want to remind the audience and everyone that the elections, you can go ahead and cast your vote tomorrow starting at 8:30 at either the Student Success at the Case and Student Center or at the Billy Hall Student Center. In addition to that, please check your emails for a link for the electronic ballot, and you can cast your ballot from any type of mobile device, or check your canvas on the Student Life Beat to cast your vote. Again, my name is Carmelino Castillo, and Ms. Lara, we want to thank you for joining us this evening, and have yourself a good night. And do not forget to vote tomorrow from 8:30 to 6 p.m. and also on Thursday from 8:30 to 6 p.m. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.